Ladies and gentlemen, markets are soaring higher in after hours because China and the US will be officially meeting to talk tariffs this weekend. And Scott Bessent is the guy. This is the level-headed guy, at least from Wall Street's perspective. Now, Donald Trump said earlier today that there was a huge announcement coming before the trip to the Middle East, before they leave on Monday. He said Thursday, Friday, or over this weekend. And, well, I think Wall Street's really saying now it's a pause on China tariffs. We're going to go over all of this here in this video, get you guys caught up to speed in what is going to be moving markets coming tomorrow morning. Guys, if you've been a viewer of this channel, I've been maybe a little too honest with you, okay? That if we don't have a pause on China tariffs, we're going to have a depression. But the fact of the matter is, there was like a 90+% chance we would get a pause on China tariffs. It's not officially here, but that's probably part of the discussion, right? I don't even think China would have agreed to meet this weekend without a pause on China tariffs. So I think that's what that announcement was about earlier today. We'll break all of this down here in just a moment, but first, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. We will also specifically talk about Tesla because, I mean, Tesla is one of the stocks that had the most to lose in a prolonged trade war with China. And you may say, like, how is that, right? Tesla is very diversified, supply chains, and they're not super tariffed. That's true. But if the Chinese consumer were to pull back from American companies, that would be a massive problem. All of this and much more to come. First and foremost, U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent says, I will meet on Saturday and Sunday with the Chinese. U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent says China is key to absent negotiation. Also saying that current trade tariffs with China are unsustainable, which is duh. I mean, I reported earlier today that, the Port of LA had a reduction week on week of over 17% traffic, okay? Guys, like, you're gonna start seeing massive amounts of inflation if you don't see this get resolved, right? It really wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when, right? More or less. There was the small chance that this could spiral into a hyperinflationary depression, but like the 97% likelihood was of a pause on China tariffs. Again, that is not officially here yet, but I expect that before we actually get to Saturday, you're going to actually see a pause on China tariffs. U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent says the discussion will be on de-escalation. And he says that everything is on the table. He says that China has been the missing piece in discussions. And earlier today, Treasury Secretary Bessent said that strategic uncertainty was kind of the playbook that Trump has been using. It's like, distort, right? Distort and chaos. So nobody knows what's going to happen next. Bessent says that strategic uncertainty can unsettle markets. And that's him suggesting that that's what we've seen. That there isn't a lot of damage already done. That markets are just really uncertain. They don't like the approach that Trump is taking. And that's unsettling markets. But it does suggest that there's not really much of an issue. That there's going to be, resolutions to the China issues. Bessent says that the United States and China have common interests. And he does say that we will avoid disassociation with China, meaning we're not looking to cut China off from everyone else. Bessent says that we will restore steel, semiconductors, and medicine production within the US. He says that trade tensions can decrease. That will allow Americans to get a fairer deal. Besant says that Indonesia represents robust trade proposals, willing to eliminate tariffs and non-tariff barriers. Also in the news, it does look like there is some kind of conflict taking place in Pakistan. Pakistan has shot down 5 Indian planes and has taken some Indian soldiers prisoner, according to Pakistan's defense minister. India says that they are targeting Islamic groups in the country. This is kind of news we've known was coming for a while now. It's not a huge shocker overall, and it's really not going to move markets unless there were some kind of like nuclear issue, which both countries, Pakistan and India, do have nuclear weapons. So that is a risk, but relatively low at this point. Now, apparently there were some issues with bombings within India about a month ago. So India is responding to that. Now, Pakistan's prime minister said that, quote, Pakistan has every right to give a robust response to this act of war imposed by India, and a strong response is indeed being given. So we don't know, again, how this is going to escalate. Usually war tends to be a non-event, again, unless there's some kind of nuclear element, which we really haven't seen before. Besides Russia, Ukraine, for a brief moment, there were concerns about the Zaporizhia plant that could melt down and basically ruin Europe. Besides that, it's really never something we've dealt with before, but it's typically a non-event. And here you can see the Dow is up 0.6%, S&P up 0.71%, and NASDAQ futures up 0.85%. Now, what's interesting and what I want to see is how do bonds respond to this? Because we know Trump has been a lot more responsive to the bond market. So imagine it like this. Inflation is basically nothing right now. Let's imagine we do get a pause on China tariffs. Say it comes out in 10 minutes, okay? How does the bond market respond to that? Do bond yields plummet? Okay, if bond yields plummet because there's no inflation, if there's not going to be any inflation via tariffs, then the Fed is going to be cutting rates. That is something I think Trump would want to lean into and to actually, continue with the dovish stance towards China. So I think how bonds react is a lot more important than how stocks react. Right now, bonds are up 1 basis point. There's not much of a reaction so far, but we will see when we start trading tomorrow, especially, again, if we do get a pause on China tariffs. Trump was alluding that could come Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. So maybe tomorrow's a little premature for that announcement, but it is coming soon, and you got to be ready for that. Now, again, just keep in mind, tomorrow we do have the Fed meeting. That's going to be really your big catalyst. The Fed report comes out at 2 p.m., and then the conference is at 2:30. The report itself usually gives you some kind of a move, but it's not the final move. You normally see a larger move upon the actual conference and the question and answering portion of that. Okay, so that's your big catalyst for tomorrow. Again, as I've said in prior videos, I think the markets, they don't have any expectations for change, right? Nobody really expects anything's going to change from Powell. That's why I think tomorrow could actually be a catalyst, right? Because nobody thinks it's going to be a catalyst. That if Powell does take a dovish or hawkish stance or approach, it's not going to be kind of priced in, okay? So that's where you could see a little bit larger of a move from Powell tomorrow. Now, I don't think it's going to be a huge move. I don't think we're going to get much of a change, but we could get a pivot in one direction or the other. You also have consumer credit change for March, which, again, given negative Q1 GDP, it could be kind of important. If this number is strong, I think Wall Street would like that because people are spending more money. Now, Tesla's stock at the time of recording this video is up about 1.2%, 1.3%. It's actually pretty volatile here in after hours. You were up almost 2% at one point. The day today was kind of weird as well. You were down about 1.5%. So with this move in after hours, you almost canceled out the red day that we seen today, you did bounce right off of your 270 level today. The low of the day today was 271.35. So things look really good for Tesla here. I mean, all things considered, with this China news, this could lead to a much larger rally for Tesla. Now, again, as I said at the onset of this video, Tesla is not a super tariffed company in regards to like a Nike or, Apple even, or other, companies. But Tesla has a massive market in China. The risk has been not of tariffs destroying Tesla, but the Chinese consumer pulling back from U.S. products and U.S. brands. That's the issue. That happened, over the decades with South Korea and Japan. Okay, South Korea and Japan have a lot smaller of a presence in China than they used to have because of issues that happen with those countries. It's like once China stops buying your product, once it goes out of favor, it's pretty hard to come back. Okay, that was a serious risk for Tesla, especially if like Chinese people started to lose their jobs because of this trade war. Like, you give Chinese people a reason to not like American companies, not like America, like that's a problem for Tesla. That's a massive problem, especially as Tesla has more competition that is seemingly coming every couple of months, okay, in China with EVs. So this is a big potential issue that looks to be getting resolved pretty soon. Now, Wall Street's not going to jump to conclusions right away. We don't have the pause yet. I don't know if that'll happen tomorrow. It could, but it's probably going to be Thursday. Okay. And when you get that pause, that's going to lead to an explosive move higher for Tesla because, again, the risk is gone at that point. So I think that's something a lot of people have really overlooked within the Tesla story. And from that perspective, there's a lot to be bullish on in Tesla. All of the positives, Elon coming back to Tesla, new Megapack factory, new Model Y that just launched, okay? Cheaper variant of the Cybertruck, FSD in China and in Mexico, right? There's so many positive catalysts. Robotaxi coming, Optimus continuing to scale and get better and better every week. I mean, where's the negative from that perspective? If the recession risk fizzles out with a pause in China tariffs, with a trade deal with China, recession risks will crumble. The high beta stocks will be the ones that will lead this market higher. And that most certainly is Tesla. So, yeah, next couple of weeks, Tesla in the 300s, that's what I'm calling for. Let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comment section. Ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.